to Casually Dressed and Deep in Conversation with me, Greg Chalmers. CDDC is sponsored by Pizza Daddy, Lanarkshire's #1 American-style pizza parlour. To stay up to date on new flavours and promotions, then get connected on the socials. The Instagram handle is @RealPizzaDaddy and the website is www.thepizzadaddy.co.uk. To see what we're getting up to here at Casually Dressed, then you can find us on Instagram with the handle @CDDC Podcast, and on Twitter it is @PodcastCDDC. Also, as you're watching this on YouTube, then please hit those like and subscribe buttons. And with me today is my co-host all the way from Northern Ireland, a very handsome young man, and you all know him as Christopher Shields. How are you, mate?
I'm not too bad, pal. How are you?
I'm fabulous.
Excellent.
Our guest this evening, I've not seen him since I sat in my pal's house playing cards with him about 5 years ago.
Mafia Wars.
That's it.
Was that it?
I think so, man. I think so.
I'm pretty sure Mac was there as well.
Yeah, I think he's always there, isn't he? But let me finish introducing you, Mark, before you jumped in my throat there, pal. Is singer-songwriter Mark Angels. How you doing, mate?
I'm really good. How are you guys?
Smashing, man. I'm
Both looking really well.
burning
Both
some
looking
incense. Living my best life, innit?
That's it.
How's the lockdown been treating you?
Pish. It's just, I hate it, honestly. Like, there's nothing worse than lockdown at the moment. Obviously, we're all trying to make the best out of a bad situation, but, like, I think the majority of the time, I just contemplate a lot of different things, and I don't know, you've got too much time in your hands, and I don't like that. I think it's just your recipe for disaster, really, to be honest.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're just trying to keep positive and trying to keep things moving, so I think everyone's in the same boat.
Yeah, first. And the thing is, there's absolutely
also, like, see, during lockdown, like, I have eaten so much crap, it's unreal. Honestly, like, I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to try and, start eating healthy, try and make changes and stuff like that. I think it's just went the complete opposite, and yeah.
Ah, mate, yeah, 100%. I've been eating like it's Christmas since. I've been like, it's March time, lockdown. Oh well, best eat like it's Christmas. Like, I've been genuinely. I've been in making. I was making a sandwich. Must have been right at the beginning of the lockdown. Just like a normal ham and cheese sandwich, and I was like,
I've been eating.
I'm gonna fry this.
You fried a ham and cheese sandwich?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not a good person, mate. I'm just like, you know what? Lockdown, innit? Like,
fried a ham and cheese sandwich.
I mean, obviously, I've kind of tempered it off now, but like,
I can see you're still sweating it out,
mate. Well, yeah, I am, yeah.
Yeah, I've actually been going out quite a lot of runs, so like I've been running quite a lot, which has been quite good. I think my stamina's getting better, but apart from that, like, honestly, I've just been eating and sleeping and eating.
Aye, we kind of turned into dogs, didn't we? Really, just kind of locked in the house and basically just looking forward to going out for that one walk a day. I mean, just kind of get to go out now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Get go out.
Yes, it's time to go for a walk.
Well, it's just this. That's what life came to just now. But you know what?
That is what it is, man.
I was
going to say, Mark, but other kind of musicians that we've had on have said that during lockdown, they have just been like hyper focused on creating new material. Have you managed to fit that in between eating bags of Wotsits with your toes?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think
working on that flexibility.
Proper going for it. Like, honestly, man, we'll get to that. I think having a lot more time does give you a lot more like time to write tunes, I guess. But I think because I write full time anyway, like as a singer songwriter, and like I kind of do that for other artists. So I think nothing really changed in that front of things. I think if anything, it just gave me another excuse just to kind of waste even more time. So that's kind of what happened. I think everyone's like, "Oh, are you using this time now to write like an album and stuff like that?" And I'm like, "Aye, man." While I'm playing FIFA, like texting back. So, I mean, I can't say it's changed too drastically in that front, but I think, yeah, definitely being a bit more productive.
I don't think you believe that.
Yeah. No, I'm not sure I believe that either.
No, honestly.
I mean, I've been more productive.
I don't know. Everyone's like, I've seen all over social media, everyone's like, "Oh, you need to learn a new skill. You need to, what have you achieved during lockdown and all that kind of crap." But I think, if anything, I think it's a time for everyone to recharge and, like, you know, try and figure out what you're actually wanting to do with yourself. And I think take the time to spend time with your family and friends and stuff like that. And I think putting that pressure on yourself to really learn something new or trying to achieve something, I think that's just a bit forced. And I think, like, it's not something that you'd want to enjoy doing. I think you're just forcing yourself because it's a bit of a trend at the time being. And I think, yeah, as soon as it starts to become unenjoyable, then I think you'll just be unhappy during lockdown. And lockdown's already an unhappy time for most people. So I think making yourself even more unhappy is just, like, there's no point in doing that. Take care of yourself.
Yeah. So you mentioned you say about writing and all that. So how long? I mean, Mark, it seems like you haven't aged. You're the same. You look the same.
Nah,
no, mate. Listen, I swear to God, you look the exact same as when I met you. God knows how many years ago, right? So first of all, how old are you?
25.
No, man.
You're
about 17, mate.
That's fine. Well, I mean, I got ID'd the other day for Red Bull, and I got KD'd. So I went into the shop, you know, got all my stuff, and then it came to the Red Bull. She scanned it, and she's like, "Have you got ID on you?" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "No, have you got ID? We need to ID you." And I'm like, "You've just seen me drive in through the front in my car. Like, this doesn't make sense." And then I was like, "I don't have any ID." So she's like, "I'm so sorry, I can't give you this." And I was like, right, Carol, I'll remember that." And then that was it. That's
good in the book.
Always a Carol, isn't it? It's always a Carol.
That wasn't her name, but that's what she was called. That's what I was calling her. So.
So how long have you been writing for?
I think professionally since I was about 19. So that's a good 6 years now. So
what about unprofessionally?
I wrote my first song during high school, actually, and it was purely to try and impress the girl, and that was it. Honestly, that was it. I think that's everyone's, like, kind of motivation at the start of writing something. Well, at least in my situation, and a couple of my mates as well. I think that's why we all got into it, because we were like, if we write a song for a girl, they're obviously going to want us. That obviously didn't happen. So
Greg tried that one as well.
At that point, though, it didn't work out because it just flopped. Actually, the song was pish, and that was it. So yeah, I think. But then I actually enjoyed writing the song, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna, like, write songs and behind the scenes sort of thing. Because originally I was meant to do medicine. Like, that's such a stereotypical Asian kind of, like, field to go down if you like, you know, growing up. What do you want to be, Mark? A doctor. That's original. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of where I was heading, and then I realised that that's just not where my passion was. As much as I do like caring for people and all that kind of things, I think that music just kind of took over a bit. And I think I went to university to study music, actually, and you know, when you're in high school and you have, like, 5 options to pick to apply for different universities and stuff.
Yeah.
So 4 of them were based on the whole kind of medicine side of things. I had 1 left, and I remember there was, like, one of the options was to study popular music at university up in Edinburgh. And I remember saying to my dad, and my dad was like, "Listen, don't tell your mum, but I'll drive you up to the audition if you want." So that's it. My dad's actually a musician as well, best musician I know. So he drove me up. Like, we secretly went for the audition sort of thing. And I remember doing it. And then didn't hear anything for a couple of weeks, and then we got a phone call saying, "Listen, we'd like to give you, like, an unconditional offer," which basically just means that it doesn't matter what grade you get. If you bomb it, it doesn't matter, we'll accept you, sort of thing. So I was like, "Oh, happy days." But then I think I had a point to prove to my mum. I was like, "Listen, if I can just, like, nail my exams, show my mum, listen, I can achieve it," sort of thing, then she'll hopefully let me do it. And that's kind of what happened. And then started from there, really. I just went to study music. So it went from, like, job security, financial security with a medicine sort of thing, to unemployed, self-employed musician.
That's it, mate. But it takes some balls, man. It takes some balls to do it.
You need to have a bit of unrealistic confidence. I think that's the only way I can describe it. Like, you've honestly got to be your own cheerleader at times. And I think, like, the people that end up, like, continuously doing it, like, for a living full time, I think they definitely have what I like to call unrealistic confidence. And I think that's something I think most of the people that you see that are doing wild, crazy careers that they had at some point in their life, like, they were the only person that believed that they could do what they ended up doing. Mm-hmm. So I say that even to this day, man, like, as much as I'm doing it full time, I have days where you're just like, what are you actually doing with your life, Mark? Like, what's actually happening here? Like, you're sitting doing music, but, like, what are you actually doing? And then you've got to just think about the days when you thought it was just an idea at first, like, oh, maybe one day I could, you know, live and live off music and do a career from it. And then here I am, like sat now, actually doing it. So like at one point in my life, it was just a thought, and then like now, obviously, I get to do it full time. So I think if anything, you can take, this proper sounds like an inspirational talk, doesn't it? But I'm totally not meaning it to be like that at all. I think just having a bit of confidence and self-belief, and I know that's pretty hard in this day and age, especially with like social media and just all the shit that you see on that, and you know, everyone's just tearing each other down. And I think especially in the UK, especially, I think like any type of like self-confidence is seen as arrogant, and I don't necessarily believe that. I think that you need to have, you know, don't take yourself too seriously, but at the same time, believe in yourself enough if no one else is. If it's something that you really want to do, then 100%, just ignore what people are saying if they try to keep you off track, and just focus on the positive things that you have going on for you. And eventually, if you keep going, it will happen. Like that's it. That's all it can come from it.
That's but that in itself takes real mental strength. Do you know what I mean? Because
even Greg, I remember when the times when we were around at Mix and we were playing. No, was it Mix or was it Chris's? I can't remember where we were. Yeah, I think even back then, I still had like that unrealistic confidence of like, you know, when you get people asking you, what do you do like for a living sort of thing, and you know, I remember being quite embarrassed before, just being like, oh, I'm a singer sort of thing, and then the people are like, no, what do you really do sort of thing. And then you're just sitting there going, no, like, honestly, like that is literally my full-time thing. I do nothing but music, I do nothing but sing and anything like that. So even when we were like playing cards back in the day, doing that kind of thing, I still had that kind of vision in my head as to where I wanted to be, and I knew I wanted to be in London at some point in my life. So that's me here almost 4 years now. So I think it's just, if you have the goal in your head and you kind of dive in head first. If it doesn't work out, like you've lost nothing at the same time. So,
well, that's the thing though. If you don't take that opportunity, you'd always look back and wonder what if.
Yeah, exactly. Like 100%.
So, who would you say are your musical influences then?
Musical influences. Well, growing up, actually, my mum and dad had lots of CDs of Prince. They had Michael Jackson, and they had all these kind of things. And as much as like I loved all those records and whatnot, I actually grew up listening to a lot of Usher. So,
mate, the big man, he knows a tune. He knows a tune.
Like Usher he's the main man. Do you know what I mean? So I grew up listening to Usher, and there was a kind of like an R&B group called Boys to Men. I don't know if you're familiar with these kind of.
Oh yes.
So I grew up listening to Boys to Men and Usher, and I remember my parents took me to a Boys to Men concert in is it the O2? Yeah, I think it was the O2 we went to go see, and I was honestly the youngest person at that concert. But I was just so intrigued by just like the harmonies, just like how they sang, everything like that. And I think my love for like kind of soul music and R&B music kind of like flourished from there. And then I started listening to a lot of early Justin Timberlake. I started listening to all these kind of like R&B kind of artists, and then I think that's what really, really like inspired my type of music anyway. So,
yeah. What would you, when you're writing a song, before I say what I was about to say, like we've had other people on, do you know Cool Kid, Ryan Laurie?
Of course, I know Ryan.
Yeah, so when he's been on twice actually, but we kind of had a talk about his creative process and what his inspirations are, and it's quite interesting listening to him. And then when Ellie was on, like how she's completely different. So where do you fall? What would you say? One is your kind of how you channel your inspiration into songwriting, and also what is the process? Do you go hook first or whatever?
Yeah, so my process is pretty weird to be fair. I don't really write melodies initially. I think a lot of the time it's just me rapping. Like honestly, even the song's not even going to be a rap song, but like I think when I hear something, I'll rap it first, and then eventually it turns into lyrics. And then inspiration comes in any form. To be honest, like I think a lot of the time I'm either out walking or I'm traveling somewhere and an inspiration comes about, or if something really tragic happens, not in my life or just in anyone's life, I think I can somehow pull a song from that, not intentionally, but I'm like, a song can definitely come from this type of thing. And then I usually have like voice memos on my phone. So I usually just like rap something or a topic, and then somehow it just kind of flourishes into a song from there. It's really strange because the song's never a rap song, it's always a song. But that's how I start.
Have you ever thought about rapping?
Oh, I have. Like, I mean, when we get into the whole songwriting thing, like, obviously, I write for a lot of different K-pop bands and a different kind of like artists in that kind of world, and majority of the time, it's about 60% rap. So I'll need to let you guys hear some of the original demos of me doing them. And no, listen. I'm not even gonna front. I enjoy doing the rap because obviously you can't, like, as a Scottish person, you can't really get away with like rapping like an American artist, I guess.
No.
It just doesn't really sit well, I think. But I mean, doing these type of things allows me to have like this total alter ego rap artist. Do you know what I mean? And honestly, when the headphones are on, the shades are on, it's fire in the booth. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. I think it's one of the most enjoyable things about writing as well. I think is being able to just do different things that you not necessarily would do as an artist yourself, but it just some of the funnest times in my life are like writing songs like that where you can totally be whoever you want to be writing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
was there not actually a Scottish rap artist that actually managed to?
There was two of them. They
managed to like, from Arbroath, and they managed to like they get signed to like Sony Records and stuff like.
They carried on.
Wait, hold on. I think is it Shy and DRS? Was that their name? Are they from Aberdeen?
Arbroath.
But
this is like I think late 90s maybe. I watched a documentary about them, and they basically they literally like they kind of had that like Chad Muska look about them, like from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and they went on tour and all that, and they were just they literally all their circle of friends in the States all thought they were American, and they were just two wee guys from Arbroath.
Yeah, and they done a gig with like D12 and stuff.
Yeah,
they supported D12.
No, I know I know the two of them. Actually, well, I've met them before. They're called Shine DRS. I think they're still going, by the way. Like,
still going. It's incredible. What a story! Like,
but I'm pretty sure they did a track with like D12. I'm sure. I swear, I think they've done a track with D12 or a producer for D12. I can't remember the exact things, but just how mental is that? It's just like, all the way from Scotland.
They went
before the internet was a thing as well, and you should be like, we're best mates with Eminem. Of course you are. Yeah, come on, come. Here's a
deal. They went to an audition and rapped in a Scottish accent, and they got KB'd a belter. And then they were like
30 seconds
fuck this. And so they just started recording it. All their music in an American accent, and then suddenly it went big time. Crazy.
Picked them up.
It's mental, man. Yeah. Have you got any? When, like I said, you've been around for quite a long time in my eyes. When was your first ever gig?
My first ever gig was when I was in high school, and it was in the Badlands. So it was
one hell of a first gig.
Oh no! It wasn't in the main stage. It was like Barrowlands, like the Barrowlands 2. It's like the smaller stage. It's like the smaller room. So that was like my first gig with my band, and I remember I couldn't speak after it because I think when you're doing gigs like that, the sound technician guy that you end up getting like doesn't really care.
No.
So he just kind of just turn the mics on and you just hope for the best. And at this point, like we just were so excited that we had a gig there. So we were just like, you know what, let's just have the best time ever. I couldn't hear myself I could have been singing in, you would not have known. But it was that. No. This was when I was like 14 or 15 or something like that. And at this point, people were just getting jump-ins. So everyone was just like 15 and drunk at this gig. 15, 16. Yeah. I just remember being at the gig and just having so much fun. It was just your pals that came, really, to be honest. And
I could Marlboro Reds. You're good,
exactly. Like, you get the parent in the corner of the random guy at the corner. He's just standing there, like, "You don't know bad, by the way."
Yeah.
No bad. And then you're just like, "Oh, thanks very much," sort of thing. I remember that was my first gig, and I remember losing my voice completely after it because I couldn't hear myself. So I was proper screaming into the mic, and I swear my mic probably wasn't even turned on. You just could hear the guitars, the drums, everything else. But I was honestly just having the time of my life. So that was my first gig, and I was like 15, 16, something like that.
Wow. Did you get the bug for it then?
I think when I initially got the bug for it was actually during the school talent show, and funny enough, I actually rapped at it. I wasn't even singing at the time, so
Spitting fire.
Yeah, so I entered the school talent show with my friend Marianne. So we were like a duo going into this talent show, and she was called Marianne, and I was called Mark. So I was like, right, we need to come up with a really cool name, M&M. So that's what we came up with. And then I remember we did, do you remember that song, Nothing on You by Bruno Mars and B.O.B.?
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah. So I thought I was smart, and I thought I could rap. So I was like, right, you sing the Bruno Mars bit, and I'll do the rap bit, and we'll win it. I think it was just a complete laugh, right? So we went for it, and I just remember I was absolutely bombing the first round of auditions. Somehow we got through, right? So there's videos of it online somewhere on my Facebook. Feel free to just try and find that. It's so funny. Honestly, it was like I had this really Dragon Ball Z haircut as well, so it was just completely just the most random thing you'll ever see in your life. Yeah, exactly. That's Bruno Mars Dragon Ball Z haircut guy rapping on stage in an American accent. What a combo!
That's a belter.
Amazing.
So we did that, and I kind of got the bug from it from there, and then I decided that I was going to be a rap artist. That never turned out, obviously, but I enjoyed it.
And that's when you thought, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, I think so. I think at that point I was like, I really enjoy this, because at the time I was listening to a lot, like obviously Usher and stuff like that, and I went to their concerts and stuff, and I was just like, because I dance as well. Obviously that's how I know Nick and Chris and stuff. So I was like, it'd be so good to be able to like get all these girls and just get them singing my tunes, and like I get to dance with them and stuff. And that was honestly the golden vision. Nothing else. It was literally that. Yeah, that's all I wanted.
Just get a few birds in it.
That was it.
Listen, it's probably been the motivation for more people than we think. Do you know what I mean? It's aye, totally. So tell me, we were doing a bit of research on you, Mark, and I came across a photograph of you hugging Graham Norton, right? And it was out of context, right? And I was, I know, mate. Listen, it was something. Don't worry, it wasn't one of the photographs.
You can find that
one. No, but it was something to do with the Let It Shine competition.
Oh yes.
Aye.
What a show.
I know. So I'd never even heard of it.
Good.
So, one, what is it? And I know what it is, but after extensive research, but if you let our listeners know.
Yeah, of course. So, I think a couple of years back, there was this TV show called Let It Shine, and basically it was a show fronted by Gary Barlow, of course, the legend himself, right? Mm-hmm. So him and Take That and Robbie Williams were putting together a West End show called The Band, which basically emulated the careers of Take That and how they got together and how they like kind of grew into stardom, sort of thing. And they were holding auditions for the boys who were in the band, and basically that's kind of what it was. I didn't really know too much about it, to be honest. Like when I actually went for the audition, my manager at the time was just like, "Listen, the producers keep contacting me to get you to come and do an audition. Would you be interested? This is what they're looking for: boys that can like sing and dance. They're looking to put a band together to kind of emulate Take That." And my first reaction was like, do they know I'm Asian? I'm not white. Like, I can't fit any of the roles. Like, I don't know who I'd be, sort of thing. And he was just like, oh no, they're not trying to find the members. They're just looking for like boys that will play like a boy band. So I was just like, all right, this could be fun. If anything, in my head, I was like, well, I'm going to meet so many influential people like within like kind of the industry and stuff like that. So I was like, if anything could come from it. At this point, I didn't even know it was going to be a TV show. I just thought it was just like a like they were just looking for boys and stuff. And then eventually found out it was a TV show. And I sang Justin Timberlake's Mirrors for my audition. And it's the most random thing ever because there's like a dance. There's not even a dance break in the song, but I asked them to make me a dance break so I could dance at the end of it. And so that audition was held in Manchester in front of a studio audience and stuff like that. And I sang in front of Gary Barlow, Danny Minogue, Amber Riley, who played Mercedes in Glee, and Martin Kemp.
Oh, right.
Gold.
Yeah, Spandau Ballet.
So yeah, exactly. So I sang in front of them, and I got through. I got a really good score. Got really good feedback and stuff like that. And then like it's basically like a TV show where you kind of just go through all the rounds. You have to do like dance auditions and singing auditions and stuff like that. And I think throughout the full process, I was just trying my best to meet as many different kind of producers and just different people that you wouldn't really meet in Scotland because you just wouldn't, because they're not here. So I think at the time I was like, right, just try it and just meet as many people as you can, and hopefully something will come from it. And I did. I literally, any opportunity that I could to chat to people, I was just like, hi, I'm Mark, blah, 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 just try to chat away. And I think as the weeks went on, I kept getting through, and I was like, right, something's going on here. They seem to like me. I keep getting through, and then I ended up coming second on the show. So I think it was a bit of a blessing in disguise. You always hear about these things, like not winning the show is probably the best outcome.
Yeah.
And I think definitely for me, because I think during the process, I kind of figured out that I didn't really want to do the whole musical theatre thing. It just wasn't for me at the time, and my heart was definitely not in it. Towards the end of the show, at one point I was like considering just like probably not finishing it because I wasn't enjoying it as much as I thought I was gonna. But then I think I thought about it in my head. I was like, listen, it's like a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity. And I think it'd be such a waste for you to just to throw it away because you weren't feeling it at the time. So I just thought, just stick at it and see how far you get. So I did. And then we got all the way to the final, which was like one of the best experiences of my life, like in that side of things. But I think just knowing that the winners would have to do 8 shows a week singing Take That tunes for like 50 odd weeks, I was like, there's only so much relight my fire I can take.
So many times I can relight that fire.
That's it. So I think it was a bit of a blessing in disguise. But once the show ended, it was almost like, right, you need to figure out what you're going to do now, because I mean, you're kind of just forgotten about right after the show. Like no one really like kind of is there to show you what to do next, unless you've obviously got like a plan and a team and stuff like that. But like the majority of the boys were just like, we were all plucked out of like different walks of life. Just some boys were just going in for the banter, and I think a lot of the time everyone would just come. Yeah, people would just come up.
Something just feel like
you want me to do what? I've got to sing.
Exactly.
What would you want?
Exactly.
Got a karaoke machine.
I think it was a good time, to be honest. But I think you definitely needed to figure out what you wanted to do after it, because otherwise you're just going back to your normal job. And I think coming from such a kind of luxurious experience from that, like we lived in like a big penthouse suite and stuff like that, and like all the contestants, we had a house like apartment and stuff, and it was honestly like it was a dream. Like it was a complete dream. And then we would be filming every day and dance rehearsals every day, singing rehearsals every day, filming and stuff like that. Like literally it was everything that I wanted to do, but the end product was just the complete opposite of what I wanted to do. So I think like they were outweighing each other, and I think eventually I was just like, just stick at it, because at the end of this, you could just be going home and then like do nothing again. So just enjoy it. I did, and that was it, really, to be honest. What was the question? I just started talking a lot of rubbish.
Mate,
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But I suppose something like that's a fantastic networking tool for you, really, isn't it? Like you say, a chance to meet like all these producers and get yourself in front of people that you ordinarily wouldn't. And I suppose if you had just decided, no, I'm not going to do that, then it's people's perception of you not seeing a project through to its fruition would then be like, well, actually, if they go, I know this guy, Mark Angels, but you've done that show, they didn't finish. You know what I mean? It's a kind of almost like a little mark against your name.
I think so. I think another thing that I was thinking about was like, this is probably someone's this is like someone's passion, this is someone's dream. And I just felt like if I'm not really, into this, I don't think it's very fair that I'm here and someone else who really wanted it sort of isn't here. But then I thought about it again, and I said, well, if I'm in the position that I'm in at the moment, it's because I'm meant to be here. Like something's led me to be here in this moment and to do this. And I think when you realise these things, you just kind of have to grasp these opportunities, because they're not going to come round again. And like that is, it was one of those situations where even the people that worked behind the scenes and the team and stuff like that, I had the best experience. There's not one thing I could fault about the team behind the scenes. Because I've heard so many horror stories about people getting mistreated on TV and stuff like that. Hand on heart, I can say that the whole team and everyone behind the stage were amazing. Like there was nothing shady about it, and I never felt snaked at all. So I mean, I can't complain one bit. The only thing that I could have taken negative from it was the fact that my heart wasn't in it completely, because I knew that if we went all the way, I'd have to sing "Be Like My Fire" 8 times a week.
Yeah, but I think you said again, like, it's obviously it was somebody who really wanted to be there. There's a difference between, I mean, those people that probably, like, you were there because you were capable enough to be there.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I desperately want to play for Celtic week in, week out, but I have nowhere near that capability.
You get me a chance to be Gary Barlow and take
happen,
that.
Mate. That's why, mate, it will happen one day. That's why I sit in the stands, full kit on, just in case Lenny turns around and they're like, see the fat lad up there? Get him on. I mean, no,
Listen,
but
if I can Fenwa can do it, you can do it, Chris. It's all good.
Aye, exactly.
Mate, I've just I think the image of you sitting in the stands, just half eating a pie, and Lenny going, him, and you go,
every time
it's
he
my
turns
time.
around, being like,
Man, it's gonna happen.
pull a hammy within 2 minutes. Like chocolate hamstrings.
So wait a minute, Mark. So wait, after Let It Shine, you went to LA.
Yeah, that's right. So I again, like, that would never have came if I hadn't have done the show, to be honest. Because at the time, the producers that I ended up flying out to work with were the team behind Justin Bieber and Rihanna and all these people. And honestly, that whole experience, even today, like, it was a complete dream come true, because we worked in a studio called Henson's, which is like where the Muppets and stuff was recorded. So it was one of those ones where I'm from East Kilbride, right? So I mean, it's a whole different kind of ball game. Like, we're walking out there, and they're just walking past all these celebrities, and I'm in the studio. And at the time, Camila Cabello had just dropped that song Havana.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm walking to the toilet, right? And I'm wearing "I Love LA" that's on my t-shirt. I just bought it from like one of the stands and whatnot. And I'm going out the studio, going to the toilet, and then she comes out the bathroom as well, right? And she walks past me, and she's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Right, what's going on?" This is nuts. She's absolutely stunning, right? In real life, she's absolutely tiny as well. And then so she's walking past me, and I'm thinking, "Where am I, man? What's going on?" And then I don't know if you know an artist called Trey Songz.
Yeah.
That R&B artist. So he was 2 doors down as well. I didn't get to see him, which I was a bit annoyed at, because I love his music as well. Bruno Mars as well. Rita Ora was there, and Justin Bieber. We just missed Justin Bieber as well. So at this point, it was just one of those moments where you're just like, I'm not meant to be here, man. This is not right.
Expecting the knock at the door, like, oh, you.
Yeah, I know. I can remember just calling. Like, I just remember calling my girlfriend and calling my mum and dad. Like, listen, like, we're actually, I'm in this place, and there's a madness going on. Everything is just
some madness going on.
No, there's so much happening. My mind can't really focus at the moment. And it was one of those. There's a documentary of Justin Bieber online, right? And he's recording his album in the studio, and like, I remember the first time I walked into the room that I was working in, and I was like, how do I know this studio? How do I know this room, man? And then I eventually realised that this is the room that Bieber recorded his album in. So I'm sitting there like licking everything. Bieber touched this. Bieber touched this.
And seats now.
Yeah. So honestly, like, the producers that I was working with as well, they'd done songs on the album, and they were working with me, and we were writing songs as well. And I remember one of the songs that we wrote called Tiffany. Justin Bieber's engineer came in the room at the time, and he was just hanging out. So he just comes in, chats to everyone, like, "Hey guys, what you working on?" And I'm like eating my burger, right? And like, Sean's like, "Oh, we got Mark here's a new talent straight from the UK, and we're working on this banging hit called Tiffany. Let's play it to him." And I'm like, "Oh no, man!" So he starts playing it, and I'm like, everyone in the room is like vibing, everyone's like nodding their head and all that, and I'm at the back like, what's going on? And then the guy comes around and goes like, "Who's mixing this song, man? It's an absolute banger." And then they were like, "Oh, no one yet. We're just kind of like, we're just finishing up the record." He's like, "Right, that's it. Send me it. I'm mixing it." And I was like, "No, what's going on?"
What?
So then he ends up mixing the track, and then I end up, like, a couple of days later, he ends up mixing the track, and then he invites us down to his studio. So we end up, his name's Josh Goodwin. So if anyone is into like engineering and stuff like that. Josh Goodwin he's like one of the top dogs. So he mixed that song New Rules by Dua Lipa. He mixed Despacito.
Wow.
He mixed. So he's the producer for all that. So I end up like working with him as well. So he ends up mixing my tune, and he invites me into the studio, and I'm sitting in this like lavish kind of like mixing like studio of his, and I'm sitting on the couch there. Now I'm not used to this at all, so I don't really know what to do when I'm sitting there while he's mixing my tunes. So I'm sat on the couch there, like in silence, like arms folded like that, while he's sat in front of me, and he's just like, "So man, what you been up to?" And I was like, "Not much, man. What about you?" And he's just like, "Yeah, man. Like I got this song from an artist called Rita Ora. I don't know if you know her." I was like, "I think I've heard of her before." Just honestly, this kayak so cool. Just completely failing, and he was just telling me all these stories about all these like massive like Hollywood stars that he works with. And I'm when I go home, I'm gonna pizza account and stuff on, man. Honestly, it was one of those moments where like, if you were a fly in the wall at the moment, you'd be sitting there laughing at me because honestly, I'm just so not used to anything like that. Yeah. It's one of the best experiences of my life, and hopefully one day I can do that again. But that was a proper pinch myself moment. Yeah, I've only had that maybe a couple of times in my life, and I think that there was like, you see these things on TV, you see MTV on TV, you see like the Brit Awards, and you see all these just like pure massive artists and whatnot, but you never really see the behind the scenes of like how they put the things together. And I think like being able to hear it firsthand from someone that is actually just actively doing it and just sitting on his couch just eating a burger, and while he's chatting to you about all these things, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, we just got back from the Grammys a couple of weeks ago as well," and stuff like that. And it's just like sentences like that you're sitting there thinking, right, I'm going to do that one day. I am actually going to do this one day. And I think that's just always just been the goal. I think I've had a little taste of like someone that's done it, and it's kind of just, it's always been ingrained in my mind. And I was like, you know what, one day I'm going to be in his chair and I'm going to do that. Yeah. And I'm going to be, then me, I'm going to be able to say that to some other kid that's just like starting to do it. Mm-hmm. And then, I think that was like the first moment where I thought, shit, man, this is what I want to do.
So what tracks did you get from working in LA then? Did you get loads of stuff?
So I wrote 3 songs. We did 3 songs out there, called, one of them was called Tiffany, When You Were Mine, and another song called EXO, all of which are still with me at the moment. So we were just, they were originally for me, then we started pitching them out, and then, because at one point Justin Bieber was after it as well. But then, like, he ended up making a Purpose album, which was like mainly done by like Skrillex and stuff like that. So it was like a completely different style.
Diplo was involved in that as well, wasn't
he? Yeah. So he ended up doing like a whole different body of work instead of the song directions that we were going with, because at that time it was very disco-y, very 80s. Funnily enough, 80s is kind of in at the moment. Yeah. So I think we were just a wee bit too premature with it. I think at that phase, electronic and dance music was very much a thing. And that was the kind of, that's when Bieber released, what was the song with Skrillex? Is it Where Are You Now? Where Are You?
Yeah.
It was that one. So he had that, and then he came out with Sorry.
Yep.
That song, Sorry. So that was a whole body of work that he had. And I think at that point in time, that was what was popping at the time. And now obviously it's 80s and whatnot. So yeah, you might end up hearing the song with someone, hopefully.
Just get him on the phone. Justin, my man.
I know.
Got a few beats for you.
Get him on the WhatsApp. Just like, what's happening, bro? Like,
got a couple of sweet tracks for you. But
actually,
oh, here we go.
Josh, the engineer and the mixing engineer, he actually follows me on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that. So I could actually just send him stuff, but I'm just like, I've not spoken to him in years. It'd be really random. He's like, who the hell are you?
You got to push yourself, mate. Do it.
I know. I mean, the brass neck is well and truly on its way back, but we'll give it another year.
But the thing is, I mean, all it takes is for one interaction, and then bang, away you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I think someone's career can literally turn on its head overnight, especially with the internet these days. Like, people can go viral, and then all of a sudden you get $1 million record deal sitting there just purely off a viral tune. And a lot of obviously like reality stars and stuff like that, I think they've obviously seen that opportunity. Like Love Island especially is a great vehicle for people that are just like wanting to propel and whatever it is, because half the people that go on that are actually secretly singers or secretly like actors or something that just so happen to be absolutely beautiful as well. So they know exactly what that show can do for their career, because that show produces more of a following than X Factor these days. So it's like, why would you go on something like that when you could literally have a free holiday and grab the followers, boom, release a single? And honestly, like, I used to be so that kind of, you know, quick route to fame and whatnot. And I think, like, looking at it now from a business side of things, I think if anything, life is so short, you never know what's going to happen. Like, coronavirus is a perfect example. Like, you could be like planning this big kind of music release for like 2 years, and all of a sudden, when you're about to release it, coronavirus happens, and then what? You've got absolutely nothing to go back from. So I'm like, my views on different things have changed completely in the past, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. Like, obviously we've had time to reflect and really think about things, and that's definitely one of the things I've thought about, thinking like, just if the opportunity is there for you, man, like, take it, because anything can happen in the space of 24 hours, like exactly this pandemic.
That's an Enter Shikari song.
Is it actually?
Yeah. Anything can happen in the next. Oh, it's anything can happen in the next 48 hours. Bugger, I was so close.
Well, listen.
But what I was going to say to you, I also, like, I basically went on to YouTube a day and just watched all your videos and stuff like that as well. And I did enjoy the one with. Did you film it in Arta?
Did I film it?
With Chris Parry and Adam.
Oh
and
my
all
god,
that.
yes. Oh my god. So yeah, that was one of the first songs that I'd put out was like sort of like housey kind of track, I guess. And literally all, like, you know, everyone from like kind of the Glasgow.
I was like looking at the video, like going like, fuck, I know him.
I know you.
I know you.
Yeah. So literally anyone that did dance class at the time, we were always it was like a big family of us. Like, everyone's obviously away and doing their own things now because obviously life happened. But at that time, I think this was before everyone was going to college and stuff. So literally everyone was there that was that's in that kind of like dance scene. We all shot a video, and we had at a penthouse in, I think it was in Emergency City, and we just shot a music video. We just had so much fun with it, and it was the most random but most fun day. Because after we shot, we went to Yasmin's dance class straight after. Like, everyone, it was like a full 30 set. Like, all 30 of us just went, right, let's go to class, and we went to Yasmin's. So it was we shot in so many different places in Glasgow. It was literally, if you've ever had a night out in Glasgow, you'll recognise 80% of the shots.
Yeah, because I even recognised the penthouse apartment. It's the Fraser apartment that's in Emergency City. You were,
you even know the name.
Aye, yeah.
I just went on Airbnb and like,
no, literally, because I was, do you know what, I realised it was art. I see there's a bit when you're like walking down the stairs, and I was like,
oh, that's right. Oh man, like, we had to shoot that bit 4 times because I fell down at the first shot. Like, the first time, as I was trying to act cool, like walking down. And I tried to even do it in slow motion, but then Steve, the director, was like, you don't need to do that. Like, I can do that. So, like,
we've got technology. It's Hasselhoffing it down the stairs.
He's like stopping it, going, "What are you doing? Like, you don't need to do that."
So tell us about Climax.
Getting red shorts.
Tell you about Climax. Oh, listen, man. If I can give you a pound for every time someone asks me about that song, they're like, Climax. What's this about? So obviously, it sounds dirty, but it's not.
Right, okay. I did wonder.
Yeah, listen, it's not. There was a point in my relationship with my partner that we were going through quite a lot of, like, as you do as couples, you go through quite a lot of ups and downs, I guess. And this was before we moved to London together. We were in a bit of a crossroads, thinking, well, not even with like just our careers, but just with life in general. Like, we were figuring out what we wanted to do, what we wanted to achieve, because I think it comes to a point where you've done as much as you can where you're living. Well, obviously, where we were in Scotland, and I think, like, for the type of music that we wanted to do, there wasn't really that much opportunity. So we were really thinking what we were going to do, whether I was going to move to London, she was going to move to London. Was it the best decision? Are we going to split up because we want different kind of choices and whatnot? And I think the song Climax really just came from that. I think the lyrics in the song really depict about how we felt towards each other, all the stuff that we'd been through together to get to the point where we were, and the whole climax idea came about from thinking about, have we really peaked at that point? Like, is it just kind of like going to die from here, or what's going to happen sort of thing? And then I think obviously we moved to London together because that's kind of where we were, and that's how Climax came about, I guess. I think
is she a dancer?
No, she's a singer.
Is she a singer?
Well, she dances as well, so she she does a bit of both, like myself. She's also a songwriter, so she's incredible, like as an artist and in her own right. And I think
let's get her on. Get her on.
Yeah, exactly. I'll give her a ring. Yeah. We both wanted the same things, but I think at the time we were a bit confused as to what we were going to do because we wanted the same goals. But then we were like, we're actually stronger together. So, sometimes you think, I think you can do things by yourself, but I think you're only as strong as your weakest link. And in my opinion, I think I'm my worst critic. So having her there beside me definitely helps me like balance, myself. I think when you're by yourself and you're constantly scrutinizing yourself, you need someone there to really put things into perspective, and she does that for me. So, and I like to think I do that for her as well. So I think that was really important in our relationship, and I think that's why we're still here.
Mm-hmm.
I got very deep.
Mate, listen, we're all about that. We're all about that. The thing is, especially if you work in the creative industries, you've got to be connected to your emotions, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Like even with Ryan and Emily, for instance, the two of them, like even going on television together and like going through that, and then even with their careers afterwards as well, it's so easy for you guys to just kind of like drift apart and really go after your own things. But I think when you found someone that really helps you not only with, personally or your career, but someone that brings balance to your life and, someone that pushes you past your comfort zone, I think that's really, really important. And I think obviously they find that in each other, and I think that's really important. And whether you're in the creative industries or not, I think like to have a partner like that is very special, I think, man.
Yeah. She's going to love you saying all this, by the way. You're going to get major brownie points.
She's already paid me the tenner, so no refund.
Was it a fiver before and a fiver?
You've done well without reading it all. You've done well without reading it.
I know. Right. My eyes are like.
What's that? Can't you hear? Your spelling's terrible.
Can't read your handwriting. No, what? Well, I think I was trying to find a wee segue into talking about working with Rise, the Chinese boy band, right?
Yeah.
But we should just go straight out and go. I mean, for one, I'd never heard of them, right? And they've got the same amount of band members that are in a Fitbit team. So
yeah, exactly. How many there is?
11 of them.
11 of them. Aye.
So I think.
When does a boy band become a choir?
Exactly. So, but I mean, there's a band called 17 that have got 17 members as well. So I mean, it is like pretty nuts out there. Like they have no boundaries out there. And you know what? Fair play. Like have a full squad. It's almost like a dance troupe, really, that have like 3 singers.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see it. Because obviously, like when we like the dance trips that we have, like in Scotland or like anywhere, there's usually about 10 to 15 members usually, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you might find 4 of them can really sing well. So that's how I see these bands. I think it's more that's
Pussycat Dolls.
Basically, no, but Pussycat Dolls only had like 6 members or 5 members or something like that. So it's even more than that.
One or 2 of them could sing. So
yeah, exactly. So if you think of like Blazing Squad, do you remember the Blazing Squad?
Me with absolutely no talent.
I know.
Like, I've got absolutely nothing to back this up. We just sat here on the side, like with nothing going. That's not very good. But, sorry.
No, yeah, Blazing Squad. They had Kenzie. Meet you at the crossroads.
Exactly. Yeah. So Blazing Squad definitely had quite a lot of members as well. But I think, So how did I get about writing for Rise? Was that the question?
How did it come about? Your experience with it?
Okay.
And I know I know that they've done well off the back of your songwriting prowess.
Yeah. So I think it was like, let me just try and rewind. So that backstory. I write for a bunch of different kind of Asian acts, K-pop bands, Japanese bands, Chinese bands. So a lot of the kind of artists out in Asia I've been writing for a couple of years now. So Rise were formed on a sort of like X Factor type show, I guess, last year. And their debut album sold something like 3 million or something like that. 3 million like copies, and it's stupid numbers because like even some of the biggest artists in the world are not selling like that type of numbers. And we had written a song. There was three of us at the time that wrote the song. So myself, and my good friends Val and Phil. So we had started an initial idea together, and when we were writing it, I kind of came up with this idea that we would change the verse and the pre-chorus to make it more of a hip hop based kind of track. And then from there, it just stemmed into this absolute madness song. I'll need to honestly let you guys hear the original demo from it because it is nuts. Okay. So I think Asian music in general is very nuts. You definitely need to have a certain type of ear to be able to handle it all. Like I think if you're a dancer, you come from a dancer background, I think you'll be more appreciative of it all because of the musicality in it. But I think for the average listener, you'll be like, what is going on? There's about 4 or 5 different genres happening here. So we had written this song, and about 3 months down the line, we got an email from the company that they were looking for songs for Rise for their next album. I didn't know who they were at the time because they were a bit under my radar because I didn't really listen to like Chinese boy bands. It was mainly Korean stuff and like Japanese stuff that I'd been listening to at the time. And so I did a bit of research on them, and I kind of was like, right, if this is the band that they're wanting my song, this is a good thing because they're selling 3.3 million or something like that of their album. So they requested for the song to get put on hold for them, which basically is just like they have exclusive rights to the song.
Yeah.
So we were like, absolutely, yes, they can hold on to the song for however long they want to. And then I think a couple of days after that, we ended up getting the request for the backing track for it, so the instrumental, and then they wanted the vocals as well. So at that point, I was like, oh, they might want to try and record it or sort of thing. And then we found out that they did record it. And then like a couple of days after that, they were like, we want to take the song. So I was like, class, amazing, great. And then a couple of days after that, we found out that they wanted it to be their single for their new album sort of thing.
Wow.
And I was just like, that's class. This is class. And by the way, this is during the first week of quarantine. So this is like the first week of lockdown. So at this point, being a full-time musician, I gig as well quite regularly. All my diary had been cancelled all the way up till about November. So I was like proper unemployed. And I'm talking as if this was happened years ago. This is like proper like 3 months ago, guys. Yeah. So it's like this was still pretty fresh. And then but I'm on the gyro at this point, right? So I'm like, this is quite good. This is some good news. So at this point, we were really, really struggling because we were like, what we're going to do for work. I mean, people were already like struggling for work as it was because like everything was like shutting down. Mm-hmm. And we were considering like having to pack up and move back home. So it got to that dark place where we were like really considering. And during this time, I was getting all these like emails about Rise, and then I was taking everything with a pinch of salt because like I've had songs before that I've gone all the way to the very end, and then they've said actually they've dropped it and like it's not happening. So I was taking everything with a pinch of salt. So I was like, oh, amazing. Even when they said that they wanted the song, they'd recorded it, I was still kind of like, great, amazing. Until it's actually out, that's when I can really get excited about it. And then I think a week after that, or a couple of weeks after that, I hadn't heard it. So I was like, oh, it's a whopper. It's an absolute whopper. They're not going to use it. And then, Val texts me and she's like, did you see the trailer? Oh my God, this looks insane. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, oh, it's the trailer for our song. And I was like, no. So I went on and checked out the trailer, and I kid you not, guys, the trailer looked like something out of an Avengers film. Like the budget on this thing was like, it was stupid.
I watched the video. I watched the video, man.
Oh no, it's absolutely crazy. Like if I could imagine a music video for a song I'd written, it would have been something like that. Do you know what I mean? And then I remember her sending that, and I woke up like proper going crazy, and Nicole, like my partner, was like, what's happened? Are you okay? What's happened? I was like, no, the trailer's out. She's like, well, what trailer? I was like, I know, the song. So we ended up finding out that the song was getting released like the day after the trailer. So we were all like, oh, so it's actually happened. And then that's how it all kind of came about, I think. And then when it dropped, within like the first hour, the video hit over 5 million views. It went like double platinum sales wise. It went straight to number 1 as well. And it was the first time I'd experienced like something that I'd written like accumulate so much like traction in this, but like such a short space. And when we were watching the music video, we were all watching it in the living room. I'd like brought some friends round in the morning, like 10 o'clock in the morning. I was calling everyone like, come round, we need to watch it. And then like at the start of it, they show the credits and whatnot. And I didn't know that my name was actually going to be at the start of it. So I was like proper like excited about that. And like it was like showing like the writer, producer, composer, blah, blah, blah. And I think my name was like on like 4 of the lines. So as like a writer, a producer, like a composer, and then a vocal arranger. So I was just like, it was just one of those moments where you're just like, this is class. This is absolutely class. Exactly. No, but that it's funny you say that, because like theoretically, like I'm a songwriter that's got like a multi-platinum certificate, but I'm on the gyro. So it just doesn't make any sense. And I always have a laugh about it, because that's like my flatmates and my mates about it, and I'm like, it's so funny that like, you know, you can have all these titles and whatnot, but then at the end of the day, you can still be in a really bad situation.
Yeah.
So as much, but I think the moment when it happened, I think the happiness and the joy that I got from it, I totally forgot about the fact that, you know, lockdown had happened. I totally forgot about the fact that I, like, you know, work is so far away from me. I don't really know when the next time I'm going to get to work. But I think in that moment of when it released, I remember calling my parents about it, and I remember them just being so proud of me, just being like, my dad seen like my names like all over the credentials sort of things. I think he was just like, that's my son sort of thing. And I think just moments like that, I think it definitely makes everything worthwhile. Mm-hmm. You forget about the money, you forget about like your current situations, but the happiness is that moment of happiness is something that I'm always striving to get again and again and again, because it's totally priceless, man. And all the years of work that you had, like the guy I was when I was 17, dreaming about stuff like that, I think is like, when you actually get to achieve it, it's like, that's it. That's what you want. You want to keep going for. And yeah, man, it's a bit of a surreal moment.
That's amazing, man. That is amazing. That's like,
well, yeah, it was pretty cool.
You think of the amount of people that strive for what happened, what like that whole situation, you know, and it's actually, Joe, we were talking about Ryan earlier on. I mean, he had a similar situation with BTS when he
can tell you exactly the same feeling. It would have been the exact same thrill, exact same thing of like, what's actually happening, because like Ryan himself, he's from a town as well, just like me, just like complete, like nothing like that kind of stuff happens, man. And when, you know, you get an opportunity like that, when it happens in your life, you're just so thankful that you kept going. You know what I mean? And you didn't stop. I think, we definitely thank ourselves for having that unrealistic confidence, as I said, because it's like these moments in your life you'll always remember, like for the rest of your life, I think.
So, on you go. Sorry, Chris.
Sorry, it's crazy to think that two guys from the west of Scotland have just have been so kind of instrumental in these absolute bangers from like behind these bangers are like and for boy bands in China and
Korea
and stuff like that. It's madness, isn't it? When you look at them, you wouldn't think my pal up the road done that. You know what I mean? You wouldn't think it would. It's just it's crazy.
Mate, I should tell you, Lanarkshire bringing bangers to Asia. Telling you, mate. We rides for Coatbridge. He's Peaceco Pride, mate. Lanarkshire dropping bangers.
I'm telling you, Lanarkshire's where it's at.
Lanarkshire, the heart of K-pop.
So, Mark, I think before we finish up for this evening, I want to ask you about the future. And I know it is uncertain at the moment, because obviously
of course,
all this is happening. But where would you like? Obviously, that's a daft question. Where would you like it to go? But where would you like it to go?
I'm trying to think. I think within the next 5 years, I definitely want to have more moments like that. As I said, obviously being able to write for like acts like that all the time is obviously the dream, and producing and whatnot. But I think me as an individual, I was always an artist first and foremost. I think the dream still will always be there, to always be on stage performing, I think. And I think one of the things I've always wanted to achieve is touring. Like, I have never done an actual international tour to my own music before. And I think that will definitely happen at some point in the next couple of years. I think if I keep going the way I'm going with my music and like the work ethic and everything, just having the goal there, I think we can achieve it. I think I really just want to be able to tour and sing my own songs with a live band and dance and everything like that. I think it's always been inside of me to achieve something like that. And yeah, I think everyone takes their own routes to where they want to be in life. I think figuring it out is the hardest part, but once you get there, man, you just go. You know what I mean?
Well, I think if you've got the determination, I mean, you've obviously got the talent for it, Mark. Do you know what I mean? And I think
thank you.
You've got the determination as well, and I have no doubt that you will get there, my man.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for having me. Honestly, it's been such a fun. I was looking forward to this all day. By the way. We are going to be chatting so much time on this podcast, and honestly,
but it's been good, Mark. Thanks very much for coming on and talking to us, man.
Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, guys, thank you for wasting an hour with me. Absolute rubbish. But you know what? I wouldn't spend my Monday night any other way.
I like to hear, mate. That there is going to be the byline for the podcast. I wouldn't spend my Monday night anywhere else. Right, okay. I'm just going to sign off just now, gentlemen. Thank you very much for listening, folks. And if you wouldn't mind, please hit those like and subscribe buttons.